This is a statistic, right? 84% of retail sales take place in stores. What? The number one driving thing about the customer commerce idea is put the human back into the equation, right? So instead of having this transactional existence where the business is optimizing every transaction down to the last cent to reduce cost, to maximize profit, to do all this sort of stuff, go a different way and try and inject more of a human contact, relationship, engagement, life into that business, right?
Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast, where technology's fast and biz is a blast.
In life and in business, time is precious. It's why customers stay or leave and why businesses succeed or fail. We're here to give a voice to everything that makes business, whether as a customer or as a CEO, easier and more rewarding. Welcome to the Customer Commerce Podcast. Let's dive in. Welcome, ladies and gents, to episode 29 of the Customer Commerce Podcast. I'm Jess, your host, joined with CEO and founder of Store Connect, Michael Linzer, and branding expert, David Breyer. How's 2025 going for you both so far?
Lovely. It is.
Lovely.
Yes.
It's going great.
One week into it, and it's actually just, I guess this is the second day of the actual full week. It's been so strange the way it's been broken right into the middle. So pretty much the last 2 weeks of the year were kind of like anybody's guess.
That's exactly right. No one knows what day it is, who they are, where they came from.
I saw this great ad today, meme. It goes, me at the first meeting of the week, trying to remember what I do here. And it's a big meeting table with all these executives in suits looking really serious, and Big Bird sitting at the end of the table.
Oh, how great. That's so visual. I love it. Wow. Okay, well, let's get straight into it. We're going to start this episode off. Last week, we talked about our wishes and dreams for this year. And now we're going to go into actual facts, straight, cold, hard facts. So we're going to kick off with some 2025 predictions. Now, these are from reputable sources, so it's not just our opinions.
Not us.
Yeah. However, I do want to get each of your 2025 prediction in regards to commerce at the end of the episode. So save that to the end. We're going to dive into the number one, which is from Salesforce. It is that retailers will shift focus to in-store media, addressing the gap where 84% of sales happen in stores, yet less than 1% of retail media is actually allocated.
This is so awesome. Like, seriously, what a freaking statistic. It's really funny when you start a process of identifying, I'm going to go on a tangent. When you start a process of identifying what's missing in the e-commerce world and the online commerce world, which I started about, 7 years ago now. Sorry for the swearing. And over the past couple of years, I've been working with David and we've been really refining this down. And we came up with this concept of customer commerce and thus the Customer Commerce Podcast and everything else. And the number one driving thing about the customer commerce idea is put the human back into the equation, right? So instead of having this transactional existence where the business is optimizing every transaction down to the last cent to reduce cost, to maximize profit, to do all this sort of stuff, go a different way and try and inject more of a human contact, relationship, engagement, life into that business, right? And you'll pick up the rewards with the longer term loyalty and the love from your customers and the, brand ambassadors and all that sort of thing. And this is a statistic, right? 84% of retail sales take place in stores. What? Like, I would have thought that would have been flipped. That blows my mind. Like, I would have thought 84% of retail sales take place online. Like, if I'd read that, I would have gone, yeah, fair enough. But this, that's the exact opposite. And
but there's one point that you touched upon regarding the customer commerce thing. Here's the interesting thing, and we've all seen it. The interesting thing is the human component that you touched upon. Why is it that the only brands that have actually retained and taken ownership of the human component, that dynamic of human interaction, quality service, all that, are the premium brands? If you look at it, you go, okay, the high-end premium vehicles, the premium fashion shops, etc. They have never forfeited, whereas the more we've gone down the economic chain of okay, more commoditized side types of things, that the human interaction has become dispensable and easily replaced by efficiencies, stuff you can order online, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just a funny oddity that the premium hotels, the premium resorts, the premium restaurants, all these premium, they absolutely refuse to just make the human part of the equation, which you and I have talked about so much, dispensable. It's fascinating to me.
I wonder if that's a cause or an effect. Like, do you have to be a premium brand? Is the viewpoint that you have to be a premium brand to do that? Or is it that the reason they're a premium brand is that they do that?
Well, I mean, it's a good point, because it brings it to the next kind of statistics that's under that, is that what these brands are doing to increase the customer loyalty. And I don't know if it's just about those small businesses or the ones that aren't premium getting a bit more creative with how to add that. Really, it doesn't have to be like high end, status, but just games. And so another part of the prediction on this is that this gamification will start rolling in for loyalty programs. So I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of beauty brands do this, where they have the wheel, the prize wheels, and you spin the wheel and you get something. And you can do it online, but they're doing it more in store as well, where they're having these one-off VIP nights, or just come in, spin the wheel, get goodie bags, and it really does increase. You become part of, again, like my prediction, part of a community.
That's right.
And that, yeah.
No,
So,
and it's exactly the right thing. I think one of the challenges the smaller brands have on this is, how do we actually integrate that retail store with the online, with the back office? How do we pull all that together? I mean, that's why we built Store Connect. It's that whole process of your point of sale and your online and your back office is all one system. So you're not having to do all these integrations. But, if you can, there is a law in business that applies to any business, especially retail, which is the volume of people you have going through your store is a direct correlation to your success. And if you can get more physical people arriving to your store and increase that number again and again and again by whatever means, you are going to get more success, right? Because you're just communicating more. There's more opportunities to talk. And if there are reasons for that, that's great. Spin the wheel, do whatever. And then if that also translates to when they go home and they log into the website, that the website knows that they were in store, right? You're just bringing all of that together. And I think this is major. And I think this will actually be a big part of what's going to happen in 2025 with companies going, there's that other statistic in that same report, I'm just reading it now, that 73% of shoppers plan to take part in gamified loyalty programs in 2025. I mean, again, so your point of sale system, to be able to support this just as a business, your point of sale system needs to know about your rewards and loyalty platform. So does your online website. So does your back office system. Again, this is why we built Store Connect the way we built it. So I'm finally feeling like I may be validated in this 7 years of hard work of building this product.
but it's true. I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like, these businesses don't have time to focus on these type of things of
building 7 platforms and integrating them.
Yeah, it's all fun too. Like, to me, having the games element is the fun part of running a business because of that connection. But if you're just pulled into this, like, I have to get, computer A to talk to computer B, and then I have to hire people that know more than me to do that, and then figure that out, and then be driven into, I got to upscale sales so I can afford that. You're just in this one thing, and you kind of have that, like, well, after I do this, then I'll be able to work on the human connection. After I do this, then I'll be able to focus on the customers. And it's kind of,
well, I mean, it says here, Gen Z make up 25% of the global population, $12 trillion of spending power by 2030, and just under, or 79% of Gen Z and millennials said that they would buy more frequently from a retailer with a gamified loyalty program.
I would. I'm a millennial. I stand by that too. I always, there's just something fun in that. Yeah. And I don't speak for the females. I think we're a real sucker for anything free. Freebies, goodies, samples. Give me all the samples.
Give me all the samples.
And I will become a loyal.
Look how much I saved buying this on sale. But you do know if you hadn't bought it, it wouldn't. Yeah.
No, because you know what? In this world and day and age, there is such thing called girl math. Have you heard of? Does your wife do girl math? Surely.
My
girl
wife's
math,
pretty amazing. But go on.
Girl math.
Girl math, yeah.
I
like the other day, can I give you an example? The other day, I thought it was going to cost me $400 to buy this thing, right? It was coming up to Christmas and I thought this was going to cost me $400. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I have to save $400. Okay, cool. And then I get to it and it's $162. And I was like, that's free. In fact, I've made money from that because I thought it was going to be $400 and it was whatever, 290 something.
Right. And the discount has gotten you to a point where
not only have I got it for free, I've made $293.
That you can spend elsewhere. That you can spend now
perceived
elsewhere,
value.
Exactly. So this is what the retailers, the e-commerce, they're dealing with girl math as well. There's all these advantages.
How does that work? Does that girl math apply to other things like people's heights and things and all kinds of things?
Moving on.
But that's an interesting statistic. So there's a prediction for you for those retailers out there in stores. So the next one is around social commerce, moving on to Instagram, your TikToks, your Facebook. I mean, now it's becoming like a social commerce. They're shops. It's all social media that you're then inclined to shop via. So these brands are getting right on that. There's a statistic that is 110.4 million people will shop via social channels in 2025 this year, which is amazing because it's no longer just like, here's a picture of my breakfast. Wow, Cindy, I love that. It's like, where did you get that from? I'm going to go to that cafe and I'm going to go buy from that as well. So that's, share your thoughts, opinions about that. David?
It actually doesn't surprise me. I mean, the bottom line is that the little bit of time when I will surf through Instagram or something like that, and then I'll see something. I've definitely made impulse purchases where it's like, that sounds great. That looks delicious. That sounds the promise of whatever it's supposed to do sounds cool. And if the price point, what's interesting to me, I mean, I always look at the little dynamics. Occasionally, the item has had such a wonderful advantage and caught my eye, and the pitch was right, and the hook was right, and then I get to the price point, and the price point has been too low. I've actually not bought it. I've gone, no, there's something wrong. Yeah. So to me, there's just that aspect where it really, really has to be grooved into where the value, perceived value, and the price point is right, and they correspond. But yeah, that number does not surprise me. I mean, what I'm actually curious about is,
I reckon it's a little low.
Well, yeah,
110 million.
See, what I'm curious about is what's not included in this study is how many of the people are surfing. In which case, I would tend to agree with you. I would tend to estimate the amount of people that are surfing, that this is percentage-wise surprisingly low. So I anticipate it'll actually be more than this. I think it'll be more than this.
It might just be the US. I'll have to.
Yeah, it could be, but the level of
it's the US.
The thing that a report talks about is like, one-click checkout and being able to give these sorts of options, and it is very powerful if you can do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like you were saying, David, like one of those is the price point. But for me, if I go to the website and the website looks absolutely like...
Well, you got to navigate to figure out where to buy that product that you just clicked. One of our clients just recently made a change to their Store Connect site that automatically monitors which products are selling and then moves them in real time onto the front and center of the homepage. So, because the idea is that you're not going to know when one of your products goes viral.
Yeah.
Like, you won't know.
Yeah.
But the system knows in real time that this one is now selling more than all these others. So it takes over the last hour or last 2 hours or last day or whatever your sales rate is, which product sold the most, make that the featured product on the homepage.
Brilliant.
And then scale it. And then if that item runs out of stock, take it off the homepage or put out of stock underneath it so that, or you might also like or replace it. So all of this automation is now possible, right? You just got to have the nous to set it up. And yeah, it's pretty cool. You got to make it easy. Make it easy for people to give you money. That's like a number one rule in business.
Great segue to the next one, which is subscriptions, which I think is a very easy thing. You sign up once and then you don't have to think about it and you've got that product or service. So subscription, this subscription economy is set to double, reaching 1.5 trillion by 2025. These are your Netflix, your, oh my God, everything now. Almost everything.
You can buy pretty much anything on a subscription.
Yeah. I mean, I know skin salons like facials that are now doing subscriptions. So you pay a certain amount and you just rock up. And again, girl math to me, I'm like, if I paid it once, then that means the rest of the time, even though I paid. Yes.
You know, one of the interesting things on that is my daughter's jiu-jitsu school offers classes on a subscription, right? So you pay for it, but it's X dollars per week, but you can go to as many classes as you want, right? But they know that no one's going to do more than, like, maybe they'll get one person that's doing one every single day, but most people are going to do one or two a week. So it actually makes them way more money than paying individually.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting process.
Yeah. I'm always thinking of that with gym classes because I do the same. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to win because I'm going to go 5 times a week. And that's only going to be $5.50 really each time I go. Would I pay that? Yes, I would. But yeah, they're always, I know, it's done in a very smart way.
And subscriptions are death by 1,000 cuts as well. Go on, David.
I want to be a fly on the wall when you sit down with your accountant annually and you say, well, that was free. Well, that was free. Well, that was free. Well, that was free.
Look how much money I've saved.
You want to see with my bookkeeper, I'm like, yeah, but I needed that for this reason. And so it's basically free. But we're like,
it's a business expense.
It's business.
It may be happy at work.
But honestly, it's not just me. Like, Michael, your little girl, I'm so sorry to say, but you're going to deal with a lot more girl math as she becomes a teenager.
She's pretty awesome.
Thing. And it brings happiness. So,
all
right. The next one is, I don't fully understand. I mean, I get it, but it's not in my world. But AR and VR are revolutionizing online shopping through virtual try-ons, immersive showrooms. We saw one, David, with the glasses try-on. There's plenty coming out as well. And this kind of technology is making customers help make more informed decisions, especially ordering things online, and apparently reducing return rates. Because
it's really there are some things that are just really hard. You know, like things like mattresses or couches or things that, especially like in home type things, where you go, okay, how is that going to look? And the technology's evolved where you can basically kind of place it in, and so it basically extends their showroom into your device. So
pretty wild. I think it's only going to get easier to use because right now I don't really use it for anything, but I think like the Warby's glasses was so easy to just click on it and all of a sudden you've got this little thing kind of coming up showing exactly you're moving your head left and right, and you can just see exactly how it's not this kind of cartoon weird, like you're really getting the reality of what it would seem like. Which in that case, I'm like, great, these look great. If these actually come in exactly how they look, then I have no problem.
I was talking to friends of mine at 3D Cloud, which is an amazing company that does this basically. So they've signed up all of these retailers for getting all of their products into their catalog. So, I'm just opening them up so I can tell you, not saying the wrong names, but like, I mean, lots of different companies where they produce furniture or they produce outdoor gazebos or whatever, and they they get their CAD models, like their computer-aided design models, and put it into their system, and then they're able to have this singular space to do all this sort of work. But that's going to absolutely take off over the coming years as computers and bandwidth gets more powerful. And the reason this hasn't taken off, we've been talking about VR since the 80s or earlier. I mean, Tron, this sort of stuff has been promised for decades. And I think, especially in the tech industry, my first experience with virtual reality was 88 or something, like a long time ago. And the reason it hasn't taken off fully is twofold. One, the miniaturization and the CPU power to be able to make it so that the thing that you wear doesn't weigh 15 kilos. That was a big deal. Or you've got this massive tether to a hulking computer. And the second one is the available bandwidth, like the internet speed that we have worldwide, because those things take bandwidth. Like it takes a volume of information being sent to and from you. So those two things are coming to a head at the same time as we have a huge amount of graphics capability with all of the AI boom that's using these NVIDIA chips and things like that. So there's this meeting of three key technologies: bandwidth, computer power, and availability of graphics and processing. This will just blow up, I think. And when you add to that the AI machine learning stuff, it's going to be pretty amazing. I predict, in a year or two, maybe 3, companies like BMW or Mercedes, it'll say, hey, you want to test drive our car? Put your Apple video on and click this button and grab the steering wheel and go for it. Or they'll have virtual machines in the showroom where you can take their latest AMG high performance on a track, like to Silverstone or something. And it's not a game. Like it's modeled on the actual physics of the car, and the switches in the right spots, and everything is that experience where they don't have to have a $500,000 car in each location and then an insurance premium to the gazillions to let everyone test drive it. So this sort of thing will come out more and more and more, where companies twig on, hey, we could, that's the sort of thing that you should be using technology on, not saying to the person who's going to give you $200,000, just click here and do a checkout and don't speak to anyone. There's a very few small percentage of people that will do that.
Interesting. I wonder if it will be very expensive to do. Like when it does kind of come out, will it be just as expensive, or probably not as expensive, like to have an actual car, but to use those kind of programs?
Well, no, the thing with the programs is you do it once and then you can ship it to 200 locations. You see?
And when you look at the advent and you look at the acceleration of AI and how rapidly it's able to render, you give a prompt.
It'll always be cheaper to do it technically. The only reason they wouldn't be doing it right now is the experience isn't good enough to match the quality of the car that you're actually getting, right? And it would actually dilute the brand from that point of view and dilute the experience, which is obviously a major concern for luxury brands like that. But, cheaper brands could absolutely eat their lunch in this area. And like a proper virtual reality, this is how, you want to buy a new Prius. Well, sit in one and drive it and play with the interactive controls and see if you like it and, do all these sorts of things. So by the time you buy the car, you're completely familiar with how it works. Or VR training videos. There's so much stuff that can be done in this area. It really is mind-blowing.
It is interesting and exciting. Okay, so then the last one is sustainable commerce. And we have a business that's very big on this. This is
sustainable salons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The trend for this year is around eco-friendly packaging, carbon neutral shipping, and ethical sourcing, shaping the e-commerce world. A lot of brands, again, beauty brands are doing this. A lot of brands are doing this.
It's interesting here. The report talks about needing to do it to stand out from the market. I think it's almost flipped now. If you're not doing it, you're standing out, but in a bad way. Like it
kind of.
And this is an interesting branding problem for companies, right? What it's taking to get to table stakes for online e-commerce right now, like just to get a seat at the table, the amount of work that you need to do to get that done is just, it feels like it's constantly accelerating. And there's a lot of small to medium businesses out there that I'm sure are sitting there just going, when is it going to end? Well, hard truth for you, it's never going to end. It's always going to keep expanding. The quality expectations are always going to increase. The only way out of this is find a system that you can start consolidating some of this drudgery into, so that you can focus on the advanced stuff and focus on how to stand out from the crowd and how to be there. I would actually say on sustainable commerce, it's no longer something that you can do to stand out. It's now something that you have to do to even get to first base.
Yeah, because the culture itself is changing.
That's right.
It's expected.
Yeah.
And
5 years ago, big deal. You probably
Yeah.
would have gotten more deals out of it. But now it's like, you're not? Like, what's wrong with you? You know,
it's interesting because sustainable salons now, like that's what they've kind of built on.
Uh-huh.
And now they're being more creative in that field, because
That's
obviously sustainable salons, they are sustainability, but now they're being even more creative in that. One thing that to, I guess, mention is that they really promote the F out of it. So, because it is more expensive, I would say, to source those things. So if you're going to spend the money, at least promote that as much as you can, so that even though it's like, yeah, but that's expected. Okay, cool. Well, there you go.
We are doing it. Yeah. Exactly. And that's a differentiator also between established brands and knockoff brands. I know a few episodes ago we were speaking about knockoff brands and companies like that. You'll find that the knockoff brands skimp on this because they don't have the margins, right? So it is a key aspect, and that also again builds a loyalty and builds that customer relationship and all that sort of thing.
True. Well, now I want to hear your predictions or prediction. Let's keep it precise. David, do you have any 2025 prediction for the world of commerce this year?
I think it's actually going to be, I think there's a lot of things changing on a lot of landscapes. That is going to really result in I think it's going to be an incredibly affluent year. I think it's going to be very, very solid. I think there's going to be a lot of growth. I think there's a lot of leveling of playing fields in terms of what's happening on social platforms. That's changing the way people will be interacting. And I just feel just the overall dynamics globally on an economic basis are going to be very, very, very solid. And are really going to be all geared toward growth. Like anything, I think there's going to be some bumps in the road, but I think over the course of the next 12 months, I think it's going to be a monumental year. That's my prediction.
I think echoing David's words, there's definitely a change in the air in terms of future growth. I think companies and people are going to be more bullish and really start taking that. So I think over the next few years, all things going well, and pending any other global pandemic, it'll go quite well. I think the other thing is that the 2025 and 2026 is where some of the promises made by AI will start actually getting delivered in the real world. I think we'll get more companies who've actually figured out how to deliver some value with this thing. I mean, Store Connect's about to release its Agent Force plugin for Salesforce, which just will work. And, it's our first step in that area. It's a simple solution, but it starts delivering on these promises. And we'll get more ideas from our clients as they start rolling this out. And we'll be able to just have that as a, flick a button and you have AI on your store. So this sort of fundamental change will be interesting. I think where AI is going to make a big impact is freeing up, to a degree, your humans to spend more time with their customers when it needs that human interaction, right? I don't need to talk to a human if I need to know the next date that this thing's being held. If I just get a response, I'm fine. If I get a response and it's instant, that's even better. I don't care if it's a human. If I have a problem with my system or my service or whatever, I want to escalate that. And you need to have if you can get to a point where your humans don't feel pressured to end the call, to hit their call number target for the day, and that they can really take care of that customer and do whatever it takes to get them to the end of that, and they love you, that will make massive impacts, and that'll fully pay for whatever AI infrastructure you'll be putting in. So I think this year there'll be a delivery on that promise.
Boom.
And I want to add one other thing besides the outlook. I think there's one other thing I would add to this, which is this, to what Michael just said, that there's going to be with AI, there's going to be an increase in efficiency and a lot of functionality that will happen. I think if businesses are really smart, they will now take that freed up time to inject more humanity into their brand rather than get so obsessed with, oh, how can we add more technology? That's where I think that's I think that'd be a big misstep for companies to just be so focused on how can we keep on adding layers and layers and layers of technology and not take advantage of the free time, the additional time to actually bring back. Because I never thought of it before we talked earlier with the fact that what brands refuse to forfeit the human component. And it is those brands that we consider premium and that we value, the best just places we love to have, the best coffee shops, the best restaurants, the best fashion places, the best car places, the best appliance places, furniture places, whatever. We get great people. We have great interactions. And I think that is something that is the greatest thing we could do, to use technology to bring back what we've actually forfeited up till now.
Yeah, I love that. And Store Connect, does it have like a word this year, a word of the year for Store Connect?
Questions without notice. Jesus.
Have you not prepared this?
A word of the year?
Like, is it expansion or is it transcend? Or...
I have no idea. I think the word of the year, or what we're trying to do with Store Connect this year, is save a lot of business owners heartache and time. I think that's still our mission. It's still fundamentally what we do. We've got a lot of business owners out there that are drowning in this sea of technology and complication that's coming. We need to solve that, and somehow. So, on our website, we have a couple of spots where it says, ask us your toughest questions. And that's really what we want to do with the business owners, is give them a way out of this mess so they can focus on what's actually going to get them revenue and stop focusing on, did the order sync?
Okay, good. Well, then I've decided that the word of the year for Store Connect is hero.
You can be the hero, Jess.
Fine. Sure. I'll take that title.
Did you ever know? Yeah. Anyway, good.
Theme song. Okay, gentlemen, have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you had an awesome time, leaving you with ideas on how to improve your business and wow customers. If you'd like to leave a real customer's story, head to the link in our show notes and cuss away. Love the show? Please subscribe and leave a review, because that enables us to help more businesses in building real relationships with customers and grow more rapidly. See you next time.